I'm going to give you 5 signs that the devil is attacking you and what you need to do about it. Now, I know that out of these 5, one of them is probably happening to you right now. So let me give you the first one. The first one is when there's an increase of temptation in your life to do things that you've been delivered from already. There's things in your life sins in the past you've done in your life that you've been delivered from. And all of a sudden, there's an urge to start getting entangled with them again. What's that showing you? It's showing you that you are under the temptation or under the attack of the enemy. The enemy is trying to draw you away, trying to draw you out of God by past sins, by past things that you did that you've been delivered from. He's trying to draw you away with the same tactics, because I always say to people that the devil is always going to attack you in the place where you're weakest, and the place where you're weakest is in the places where you've been delivered. So if you was delivered from drug addiction, you was delivered from the occult, the devil is going to tempt you in those areas out of nowhere. It will tempt you in the occult. Oh, why don't you, God hasn't answered your prayer. Why don't you go and speak to your friend who is a clairvoyant? Speak to your friend. You know a few people that do tarot cards. Why don't you go and speak to them instead? Because they can tell you what to do in your life, because God doesn't answer prayer. See, what the devil's doing there, he's tempting you away to get involved with things that you've been delivered from. You've been delivered from the occult, but the devil's trying to get you back into the occult, and he starts to tempt you out of nowhere in those areas, the areas where you've been delivered from. But we know the Bible says for us to humble ourselves before God, humble ourselves under the mighty hand and power of God, and resist the devil, and he shall flee. So as long as we're submitting ourselves to God, then we just resist the enemy, because when you submit to God, that gives you the power to resist the devil, and the devil will flee. This leads me on to number 2. Number 2, there's a saying in the UK where we say, if it doesn't rain, it pours. If it doesn't rain, it pours. Meaning that the enemy, it doesn't mean that, but I'm just using that saying to let you get you a bit of an understanding of what I'm trying to say here, is that things seem to go wrong out of nowhere. Like your car breaks down, okay? Then you lose $300, you lose your rent money. Then an unexplained bill appears out of nowhere. A family member turns up at your house and they need to stay at your house because they've been evicted. And it's all happening at the same time. You get a phone call from your work, from school, because your children fell over in the playground and they hit their head on the concrete and they've been admitted to the hospital. And it's all happening at the same time. Like unexplained chaos, craziness going on all at the same time. Sometimes when it happens, okay, it could be evidence that the enemy is trying to stir up your mind, trying to stir you up, trying to bring chaos into your life, trying to get your mind all over the place. He's attacking you in these areas. Now, I'm not saying that every time things all go crazy in your life just like that it's the devil, but I'm saying sometimes it can be a telltale sign that the enemy's behind the scenes trying to bring all this craziness in your life, to trying to wear you out, wear you down. So be aware of that. Now, obviously if that's happening in your life right now, things is going wrong in every area of your life, from your finances, your mental health, your body health, your family, your friends, your social life, your work life. If it's all going crazy at the same time, what you need to do is that you need to start praying and asking God for his divine intervention, asking God for strength, asking God for help, asking God to open doors and close other doors, and asking God to give you solutions and strategies to deal with all these situations. This leads me on to number 3. Have you ever felt suddenly you feel dry and you're struggling to read the Bible? You try to pray, you can't pray. You try to read the word and the word just makes you fall asleep, and you find no interest in doing any of that. Like a struggle to do spiritual things. See, that there is a telltale sign that the enemy is attacking you. The enemy is trying to keep you out of the word and trying to keep you out of prayer, because the devil knows that if he can keep you out of the word and out of prayer, it's only a matter of time before you start to wither away, before you get so weaker and weaker, so weak that you end up just, in bondage, and you end up being a castaway. So you need to understand that. So when you ever feel dry, the dryness, that's a telltale sign that you need to run into the presence of God right now. So one of the ways to defend, the way to defend against this, obviously, is to get into the presence of God. You have to get into prayer, worship, fasting, like in a matter of urgency. You have to turn it around, because if you stay out of the word for too long, you stay out of prayer for too long, you're going to find yourself in trouble. So turn it around and get straight into the word and get on fire for God again. Leads me on to number 4. Anxiety, a sudden onset of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, worry, fear, all this stuff here. It just comes upon you out of nowhere. See, that's an enemy attacking you. If you've got depression in your life, you have anxiety. Anxiety is the fear of tomorrow, okay? The fear of the future. And we know fear is, what's it called? False evidence appearing real. Is that what it is? False evidence appearing real. You're just fearful of today, fearful of everything. That's evidence to you that the enemy is attacking you, because the Bible says in the book of Timothy, 1 Timothy 1, 7, 8, somewhere around there, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of a sound mind." So fear is a spirit. And you need to understand, fear is the root of a lot of issues that some people suffer from. So depression, anxiety, the root of that is fear. Worry, the root of that is fear. Panic attacks, root of that is fear. Okay, suicidal thoughts, the root of that is fear. And once you cast out that spirit of fear, then all of those fruits, those rotten fruits of anxiety and depression and the rest of it will be cast out along with it. So what you need to do is that you need to start praying the word, praying out the word. The Bible speaks about this in the book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, 7, 8, don't be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication, make your request be made known unto God, and God will come, bless you. And he speaks about having your mind set upon things that are above, have your mind thinking upon things that are good, lovely, virtuous, of good report. Speaks about these things and on how to think and what to do in that situation. That's in Philippians chapter 4 or chapter 3 or chapter 4 verse 5 and 6, 7, 8, around there. So definitely, if you've got a problem with fear and worry, definitely start meditating on those scriptures. This leads me on to number 5, an attack on your finances and relationships. Finances and relationships. These are the two main things that we have in our lives, right? The devil will try to bring division in your relationships, whether it be with your spouse, with your family, even relationships with friends, work colleagues. The devil will try to stir up adversaries, try to bring division, try to bring strife. Same with your finances. The enemy will try to dry up your finances, try to bring lack into your life, just trying to bring you down. I know that for a lot of believers, they do struggle with a problem with when it comes to finances, a lack of finances. But what we need to do, okay, we need to endure all this stuff. We have to be in prayer. We have to ask God to help us. We have to continue giving. See, the thing is, when it comes to, if you're struggling financially, you have to start giving, start helping others. Do you have to give financially? Not every single time, but you can start giving of your time, talent or treasure. You can give. It doesn't matter what you're going through in your life, you can give time, talent, or treasure, okay, to the work of God. Give your time to the work of God, helping in church, helping on a Sunday, helping on a Tuesday, even doing a little bit of admin work for church. You're giving your time. You could give of your talent. If you've got a special talent in the graphic design or something, you can design the church's flyers or design lay out the service for Sunday or something like that. Or you may not have no time, you may not have no talent, but you may have a little bit of treasure. You can give some of your treasure to the work of God. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to keep doing these things consistently, and then you'll break through these, the financial dry spot. Okay, and obviously you need to be praying for your family, friends, and work colleagues, and cast the devil of strife out, and the spirit of division, cast it out of your life, so that you can have a more peaceful relationship, or a healed relationship, or healed relationships with your friends, family, work colleagues, so on and so forth. But let me leave it there. I hope that that I've given you 5, and hopefully I know you might, one of those have been, you're struggling maybe with one of those points, maybe 2, maybe 3, but now you have the solution, and now you know what you need to do. It's going to take effort, so make sure you do the solutions, and then you're going to start seeing God, you're going to start getting in alignment with God, and you'll start seeing God move, and it's going to be an amazing time. God is good. Anyway, it's Robert, an ambassador for Christ. I shall see you guys on the next video. Have a great rest of your week.